They say the ocean doesn't forgive. They say the waves must be respected. They say speed on water has limits. But there's one machine that was born to ignore them. A machine so small, so twitchy, so unpredictable. It felt more like a wild animal than a watercraft. And even today, surrounded by modern screens, sensors, eco modes, GPS systems, and perfect engines, this thing remains an anomaly in nautical history. A factory mistake that accidentally came out perfect. And yes, let's say it right away, so there's no suspense. We're talking about the legendary Yamaha WaveBlaster. But listen, even if you think you already know this machine, this video is about to show you the story almost no one ever explains. How a tiny, loud, borderline dangerous watercraft became the most addictive toy the nautical world has ever seen. Get ready, because what you're about to hear is not the story of a jet ski. It's the story of the machine that broke every rule. The birth of an anomaly. To understand the WaveBlaster, you need to understand one thing first. In the early 1990s, the jet ski industry was obsessed with making them bigger. Bigger, heavier, more stable, more comfortable, family-friendly, predictable, safe. The goal was simple. Anyone should be able to hop on, squeeze the throttle, and ride without a single problem. But inside Yamaha, there was a small group of engineers who thought differently. And when I say differently, I mean people who looked at a normal jet ski and said, what if we remove everything that makes this safe? What if we make it smaller, lighter, and more aggressive? What if it handles like an F-16 fighter jet having a panic attack? From that mindset came a prototype they internally called the Mosquito. Small, hyper-reactive, and incredibly fast if you had the courage to push it. That prototype evolved into something so radical, Yamaha didn't know whether to release it or lock it inside a vault to avoid lawsuits. But they did it anyway, and in 1993, it appeared for the first time. The Yamaha WaveBlaster. Why the WaveBlaster was completely different. The WaveBlaster didn't follow any of the industry's trends. One, it was way too small. Compared to touring models, it looked like a toy. Two, it was way too light, which meant every wave was basically a jump. Three, it was way too twitchy. No electronic aids, no stability systems, nothing resembling help. Four, the hull was extremely narrow. If your body position wasn't perfect, it threw you off immediately. Five, the two-stroke engine made it a missile you controlled with your entire body, not just the handlebars. Yamaha didn't realize it at the time, but they had accidentally created the most fun, most unpredictable, and most dangerous watercraft an average person could legally buy. It was like releasing a fighter jet with an AVRE trust. 5-line instruction manual. A machine that trained you by hitting you. Here's the thing. The WaveBlaster was not easy, not friendly, not welcoming for beginners. But that's exactly why it became legendary. The first time you jumped on one, two things happened. One, you laughed like an idiot. Two, you fell into the water within 15 seconds. The learning curve was brutal. The WaveBlaster did not forgive mistakes. If you hesitated, it threw you. If you accelerated wrong, it twisted your entire body. If you didn't lean properly, it launched you like a pebble. But when you finally learned how to control it, when you adapted to its personality, when you connected with it, it delivered the purest shot of adrenaline you could experience without leaving the water. There was nothing like it, and there still isn't. It wasn't a business success. It was a happy accident. Here's what almost nobody knows. The WaveBlaster, despite being a cult icon today, was not a commercial success. Why? Because 90% of customers wanted the opposite: stable, comfortable, easy-to-ride machines. People wanted speed, but with balance. The WaveBlaster offered the opposite: emotional stability not included. So while big touring models sold by the thousands, the WaveBlaster flew under the radar. It wasn't a mass product, it was a niche, a secret, a hidden gem, and that's exactly why not many were produced, making it even more special today. But then, something unexpected happened. The community turned it into an icon. The WaveBlaster's rebirth didn't come from Yamaha. It came from the people, from riders who wanted something raw, something challenging, something that made them feel alive. In a world full of big, heavy, high-tech watercraft, the WaveBlaster became an escape. It was cheap, easy to tune, and powerful enough to feel wild. The community started experimenting. Bigger engines, custom exhausts, upgraded pumps, lightweight hull work, jump kits, freestyle setups. What Yamaha had created is a curious little product. The riders turned into a pure adrenaline machine. And once video platforms arrived, YouTube, early social media, the WaveBlaster exploded worldwide. Jump videos, freestyle tricks, insane builds, 150 horsepower conversions, restorations, track races. The WaveBlaster went from forgotten product to global cult legend. Why it remains irreplaceable today. The WaveBlaster has something no modern watercraft can replicate. 1, it's dangerous but fair. It punishes your mistakes. It rewards your skill. 2, it has zero electronic assistance. It doesn't stabilize you. It doesn't correct your line. It forces you to improve. 3, it isn't perfect, and that's what makes it perfect. It's raw, it's wild, it's visceral. 4, it's incredibly light, but insanely fast for its size. 5, and most importantly, every wave becomes an adventure. Modern watercraft are fast, some insanely fast, but they're also comfortable, forgiving, predictable. The WaveBlaster is none of those things. It makes you stay alert, it makes you fight, it makes you feel alive. And in a world that wants comfort above all, that feeling has become priceless. Collectors don't get it, but riders do. Here's the funny part. The WaveBlaster isn't an expensive collectible. It isn't a rare limited edition. It isn't the Ferrari of the sea. It's a simple machine with soul. Collectors look for exclusivity, rare features, factory specials. The WaveBlaster has none of that. But it has something no limited edition sticker can offer: pure fun, pure speed, pure freedom. That's why collectors overlook it, but real riders defend it like a religion. A legend back on the map. Today, anyone entering the world of jet skis eventually hears its name, WaveBlaster. And the craziest part? Many riders restoring them today weren't even born when Yamaha built them. Why? Because nothing like it exists anymore. The market is moving toward bigger, heavier, more electronic models, safer, more comfortable, more stable. No brand wants to build something like the WaveBlaster again, not because they can't, but because they shouldn't. Some things simply happen once. Mistake or miracle. Officially, Yamaha designed it as a sporty alternative, something new, something fun, something experimental. But when you look back, when you analyze its influence, when you see how passionate the community still is, you start realizing the truth. It wasn't just a product, it was a miracle. A perfect mix of engineering, madness, and freedom. A machine born at the exact moment, with the exact mindset, in the exact conditions that made it impossible to recreate ever again. A positive anomaly in nautical history. Ending the untamed one. So next time you see a modern jet ski, huge, heavy, covered in screens, remember this. Over 30 years ago, a tiny beast called the Yamaha WaveBlaster proved that fun doesn't need technology. It only needs character. The WaveBlaster wasn't the fastest, or the biggest, or the best-selling, but it was the most alive. And that's why, even today, it remains the watercraft that changed history without meaning to. Welcome to Nautic History, where machines aren't just explained, they're told.